Hello and welcome to the Books Crypto Club catch-up on Zoom, where we talk about all things about crypto, DeFi, NFTs, blockchain, anything else in the space really. It's open to all. We end up talking about all kinds of things. I hope you enjoy this. If you do, then join the many others who are subscribing and click on like and click on that notify button. And you can always come along, come and join us at a future session. We meet every Sunday evening. And I put details out on meetup.com and on Facebook as well. So just check out Books Crypto Club and take a look at the YouTube channel that I have as well. So I hope you enjoy. Let's see who's going to join us today. Hey, Steve.
Hello there. You all right?
Yeah, living the dream. How's it going?
Yes, far better at the moment.
It's been an interesting week. I was just looking at Bitcoin price. Seems to be recovering at the moment.
Yes, I've just realised I haven't taken some profits I was supposed to take.
Oh, now if you haven't taken them yet, does that mean they're accumulating quite nicely then?
Yes.
No bad thing, is it?
Normally I swing, don't I? Swing trade them, but with it dropping, I just sort of left it.
Yep.
I've just gone back to my charts and realised I should have cashed in 2 transactions.
Okay.
About best part of 1,000 Bitcoin ago. 1,000.
But is this where you end up, you sometimes do that and then you look back and you go, actually, I did better by not doing anything, so maybe I should leave things alone more?
Well, it's 7% gain, so that's all right.
Oh, wow, okay.
Yeah.
No,
7% on one transaction and 4.06% on another transaction.
Oh, that's very nice. So it's average out to over 5% to go then, isn't it?
Yeah, so not bad. Not bad.
But over how long time scales there?
They're from the 9th of July and 6th of July.
Okay, so a couple of weeks.
You'd have to wait a bit longer than normal.
But if you can be making 5% every fortnight, that's not bad going, is it?
Yeah, it's not to be sniffed at, is it?
Exactly right. Hey there, Peter. Good to see you join us. Oh, he's just getting his stuff set up. Hey, how's it going, Peter?
He hasn't unmuted.
He's thinking about it.
There he is.
Hey, how are you guys?
Hello.
Hey, we're good. We're just talking about Bitcoin's recovery this week. Don't know if you've been watching it at all.
A bit.
Yeah. So I thought Bitcoin was going to crash down to about $28,000 or something. I know Steve uses pounds. So it's always difficult to work out, but when he's using numbers and that.
I've got the dollar chart on just to keep track.
Yeah, but I thought at one stage it was going to drop down to about $28,000, and it didn't. I don't know if it hovered around 30,000 or something, but it's recovered back up to 34 again. So it seems to have regained quite a few of the losses of late.
I think it dropped to $28,150 briefly at one point.
Did it get that low in the end?
I think so, okay. Yeah, briefly.
Okay, all right.
I was getting a bit worried.
Yeah, I know. I thought it was going to go below 28K, then it was kind of like going to be Armageddon day for a lot of people, I think. So
it didn't stay under there, luckily.
Okay, that's good. Any idea what's been causing the swings of late? Or is it just the butterflies in the Amazon flapping the wings?
I don't know. It all seems to have bounced back after that B thing, doesn't it? Whatever they had.
Which was that the one in Miami?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or whether that's just coincidence timing, but it seems to be bouncing back straight after that, doesn't it?
Okay. Yeah. Maybe it's just
done anyway. Who knows?
Well, maybe you're right. Maybe it was just that because it was a big event in Miami, wasn't it? Because I saw loads of people going to it, and it looks like they were all having a very good time. So maybe they're all just in a good mood again. So
JP Morgan have allowed Bitcoin transactions, haven't they, as well?
Yeah,
Bitcoin investing.
Yeah, it's bizarre, isn't it? You've got JP Morgan who are again endorsing or permitting type things on there. Meanwhile, you can't get Barclays, HSBC, or Santander to talk to your Binance account. So,
but JP Morgan was against Bitcoin a couple of years back as well.
Well, it was always funny because Jamie Dimon, who the CEO of JP Morgan. Originally, he came out with a comment saying, "Oh, blockchain's really, really bad." Then he retracted it and said, "No, I didn't mean blockchain. I meant Bitcoin." And then it was, if I catch anyone trading Bitcoin or crypto on any of my desks, they'll be sacked.
Yeah,
Then I think they discovered that they had a prop trading desk in Scandinavia that was doing quite nicely, in fact, and it all went quiet for a while. And then it was announced that they were building their own JPM coin, so they were getting into cryptocurrency themselves. So it's always never believe what they say, just watch what they do instead. So yeah, that's good. So Peter, I haven't seen you for a few weeks. You keeping busy in the crypto world?
Yeah, I'm always quite busy. Apart from the weekend when I'm trying to recover from long weeks worth of work.
Okay. Anything that's interesting you in the crypto space at the moment?
Yeah, I mean, watching the price moves, obviously. Everything kind of looks oversold at the moment. So there's kind of, unsurprising, there's been some bounce. Has been kind of some time coming. Question is kind of essentially what happens after this bounce. I mean, obviously there's kind of some positive news, and kind of the market's already down 50%. But kind of the kind of on-chain economy is still looking absolutely dire.
Okay, because you do a fair amount of tracking of the is it the off-chain metrics that you look at?
On-chain, well,
on-chain.
kind of on-chain, kind of also kind of look at it's predominantly on-chain, a bit of like sentiment as well, but it's like fear and greed.
Okay. Are you tracking the main wallets and that kind of thing to see whether it's the whales who are influencing things then, or? I
mean, we ourselves don't track it. We kind of just look at the data from like other service providers and kind of essentially kind of done our back testing to figure out which ones are the most useful over longer time horizons.
Okay.
Because a lot of data is very useful over if you want to kind of do intraday or intraday trading, but if you want to trade over months to quarters, then very little is useful.
Okay, I'd completely forgotten that you were actually working on a thing that actually does that as a business. So do you want to give us that a shout out here, or is it not public yet?
Well, we're not doing it as a business. We just use it for our own internal purposes.
Okay.
To help us kind of form a view in the market and hopefully take advantage of kind of this information as well when we're essentially positioning our portfolio.
Okay, well, I was just throwing it out there. If you wanted to promote it, you got the opportunity to give it a shout out if you want to, and if you don't, that's fine. That's not a problem. Good. So, what other indicators are you noticing at the moment of interest beyond oversold?
I mean, kind of all technical indicators are suggesting kind of everything's oversold, and that kind of is kind of a number of signs of seller exhaustion. Which kind of, given a sharp move down, is by no means no surprise. So you would expect some bounce. Question is how high it will go and how kind of sustained it will be is another question. There's a huge amount of resistance around 40k. Like if we want a more sustained recovery, then we would want to kind of see something that kind of hits 50k. If it does struggles to, then it's probably a sign that there could be more pain to come.
Okay. Are you mainly tracking just Bitcoin then, or are you looking at any of the altcoins?
Kind of, I mean, our own indicators, we focus on kind of Bitcoin and Ethereum as kind of where they go. Essentially, the market is inevitably going to follow. And also the data for kind of other altcoins are much shorter. So in terms of back testing, you can't really have the same amount of confidence in it as kind of Bitcoin. You've had kind of, well, this is now the fourth cycle. Ethereum, I mean, you've had one full cycle. This is the second. But kind of the other coins, I mean, some of them are around in 2017, but kind of like, especially like DeFi, it's a very new thing. How it reacts. I mean, if you got like massive research teams, then you can like figure out, build models and kind of understand how this thing works. Well, for kind of try and estimate how these things work using models, but kind of, so it's really only worth it if you're kind of specialist in this area. That's what you're doing as a business.
I suppose this thing as well, ultimately, crypto is still a relatively small market, but then when you start segmenting it down into like cryptocurrencies or tokens or NFTs or DeFi, they all segment into even smaller markets. And DeFi is quite interesting because everyone looks at the TVL amount, so the total value locked. So how much is tied into locked smart contracts with Ethereum typically. And it's not a massive amount. It is growing, but compared to the overall crypto market, it's still not massive. But it's funny as well, I was having a conversation with someone the other day, said, oh, DeFi is collapsing. I was like, well, what do you mean DeFi is collapsing? Oh yeah, if you look at the value that's locked, it's dropping away. And actually, when you looked at it a bit closer, the total ETH that is locked it did drop around about June. It's growing again in July, and it's building up quite nicely. But the problem was that because you convert ETH into dollars and the Ethereum price had dropped, then it looked like the DeFi market was dropping as well in dollar value, whereas in actual fact it's not. So it's one of those interesting ones to watch. But they're all relatively small, young markets, as you say, kind of thing. So everyone's got their niche, and it'd be interesting to see where it goes.
Yeah. I mean, DeFi has been pretty resilient given the kind of large drop in prices, and it's still going relatively strong. Surprisingly strong, if anything.
I think the biggest problem with DeFi, it's like any other of the crypto things, that a lot of people don't understand it. And I think even of those who do understand it, quite a few don't really. And it's kind of like, so I think a lot of people are staying away because it's just like, oh, I don't quite get that. So they get the idea of yield farming, maybe, where they put their crypto on deposit and they earn some interest. But beyond that, they get a bit confused. I don't know, Steve, do you put any of your stuff in for yield farming when it's parked up or anything?
No.
No.
In fact, I was going to ask about the liquid pools on Binance today.
Okay.
Brought it up, so
yeah.
That's kind of similar, isn't it, or same thing?
Yeah, I think you're right, and it's like anything, isn't it? They all carry risks, and I think with the Binance liquidity pools, it's kind of like a systemic risk, because you got the challenge of Binance, you got the overall liquidity in there, but with each risk, there's usually a reward in some way. It's whether it's worth it. So yeah, well, I've not been involved in liquidity pools or flash loans or any of those kind of exotic things.
No, I was looking maybe trying the liquidity pools on Binance, because I've got a fair bit of BTC or Ether sat there, so I might be able to do something, but I don't know enough about it yet. But it's only a small part of the Binance business, so if it went flop with Binance, they'd probably cover all the customers anyway.
Okay.
A tiny portion of their business, the liquidity pools on Binance. I wouldn't want to transfer my Bitcoin out to a separate liquidity pool somewhere else.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think, did I see something in the press this week that Binance in some other jurisdiction has had more problems?
I don't know. I have been splitting my cryptocurrency between different people recently. So Peter might have tracked some of my Bitcoin transactions, moving from one place to another. It's slightly smaller scale though.
This is it. Peter's watching the market, and it's all Steve moving his trades around.
I had everything in Binance. I was already thinking it's a bad idea to have 4 eggs in one basket.
Well, I think that's a fair point anyway, isn't it? It's the whole idea of having a bit of diversity and that kind of thing.
So I've split it between 3 different places now.
That's good.
If one goes, I'm still all right.
Okay. And I see we've got Rachel join us. Hey, Rachel.
Hi, hiya.
Hey, well, welcome aboard.
I finally made it.
Well, welcome to the party. There's only a few of us today, but we're always friendly and open. Tend to have people at different levels of experience. I don't know where your interest comes from in particular, Rachel.
Basically, I think it was about 2018 or 19 when I first heard about Bitcoin, and it was going up a lot at that time. maybe it's 2019. And I'm not a technical person at all. I'm a biologist, actually. So it was really incomprehensible to me. So I started researching the cryptocurrencies because I thought it was really intriguing. And I wanted to make a quick buck, you know. So then I found out how to buy it in Coinbase. So I bought some Bitcoin and I bought some Ripple because I think Ripple was going a bit crazy at that time. And I basically bought it at the peak of everything. Was it 2019 when there was that massive peak?
There's been two. There was the end of 2017 where Bitcoin hits just on $20,000. And then in December of 2017, I think it plummeted down to about 6,000. And then I think it did something similar again. So
yeah, it's one of those. I bought it at the peak and then it all crashed down.
So you bought it exactly the right time then, because what it actually does is it teaches you it's easy to lose money in this game. Yeah. And that's no bad thing. The number of people I know who bought in when it was low and it went up and they made a load of money and thought, oh, I'm a natural at this. And it's like, no, it just so happened to be going up in price and I didn't know what they were doing at all. So exactly. I always say if you lose some money at the beginning, that's probably a good lesson to learn because it makes you a little bit more cautious in future. So exactly. Okay, so you lost a bit. These things happen.
So then I just started diversifying a lot. So then I started buying all the altcoins. So I've got like most of the major altcoins. And then what happened was it all started going up again. So I actually like made all the money back. Then it went up quite a lot. So I was like, woohoo, and then it's crashed down again. But I'm still better than what I was, you know, obviously in 2018. So I'm still okay now. So I feel like I've lost money because it went up so high. But actually, when I look overall, I've gained quite a lot. Yeah. So I'm just really, and also I decided very early to go into Ethereum instead of Bitcoin mainly.
Okay.
Very early decided that, which seems to be quite a good decision now.
Well, there's a few that have definitely got the potential, but I think with all of them, it's about keeping the sentiment out of it and not getting too hung up on that. It's interesting the way you were describing how it is that you didn't make as much as you could have because you didn't sell out and that kind of thing. I remember I was presenting at a conference and it was in London and it was about media. So it was all the big media companies talking there and they were really getting hyped up about fake media and fake news and all this kind of stuff. And I showed them a press release, which was from one of the media companies saying how it was, crypto investor has lost $280,000 or something, I think it was. And I said, okay, so where do you think this story came from then? And what it actually was, it was someone had bought crypto at a low price, hadn't sold out when it had reached its peak, and so it had just gone past its peak. And so they said, oh, well, if you'd have sold at the peak, you'd have made $280,000 or whatever. So what a load of junk, you know, use responsible media people and everything. So you know, I hear what you're saying, definitely. So well, at least you got here with Peter. He's quite a technical analyst specialist and knows an awful lot about the numbers behind the numbers. Steve's a practitioner who is always worth looking at and listening to. See, he does well, some people do scalp trading, but I think the percentages Steve makes are way too big to be just called scalps. Is that first, Steve?
Yeah, that's more of a day trader, swing trader.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
So you got a few.
Need nerves of steel for that.
Yeah, my general consensus is it'll go up over time. So if I get locked out and like you bought too high, it's only a matter of time of leaving it. And then once it passes like my 5% profit, I sell it. And then just wait for the next dip and buy and wait for it to go up by 5%, however long that takes, then sell it again.
So do you not use stop losses then, Steve?
No.
You don't?
Not on Bitcoin, not on cryptocurrencies.
Okay. Is that a choice?
The trend is up. And I'd be getting stopped out so much because it swings so much up and down.
Okay.
I'd probably be losing more than gaining because if my stop loss was 2% and my profit's 5%, I'd be losing loads because it always drops constantly, doesn't it? And then bounces back up. So
okay.
I'd have to time the market a bit better.
Are you doing it with derivatives like contracts, or are you just buying the actual asset?
No, just the asset. Just I've got a little spreadsheet, and then I buy say £500 of Bitcoin at whatever price, and I set the target to sell it once I've made 5%,
Oh wow,
like
cool.
10 quid. But you can do that 20 times a week or whatever. So
Mm,
when Bitcoin was going up, I was making over £300 a week every
wow.
week for 6 weeks. And of course, it's dropped now. So the last couple of weeks, I've made sod off. But the money that I had in there is just sitting there waiting for it to go back up. And when it starts
You
going
have to
back
have
up, I'll be
plenty of
back on track.
capital to do that, don't you? You have to have a certain amount of capital, otherwise you don't get
Yeah.
enough on the percentage. Is that right?
Well, yeah, I was using £500 chunks, but
500.
500 on Bitcoin.
Oh wow,
chunks.
that's quite small.
So yeah, but you need to have about, say, 6 chunks, so you can get all the different segments as it drops, and then as it goes back up, it goes back through. So you only need like a couple grand, but you can half that amount as well, like Ethereum, because it bounces a bit more. You can do £250 chunks, and pretty
That's
much
amazing.
still make the same sort of money-ish. Because if Bitcoin goes at 5%, Ethereum tends to go up like 7%, it dips a little bit more. So you only have to don't aim for £100 profits, aim for £5 or £10 profits.
Yeah.
Do those 5 times a day,
Yeah.
over 7 days, and you're making whatever that is.
What platform are you using for it?
Binance goes the cheapest.
Mm.
You can't really do it on Coinbase. Coinbase is okay for investing, but the fees have been way too high. Even Coinbase Pro, to be doing that, it'd wipe out most of your profits. Binance is really cheap. It's 50 pence per £500 trade. So to buy £500 trade, wait for it to go up, sell the £500 trade for £5.80, whatever, it's cost me £1.
Oh,
Whereas
wow,
I
that's
might
so
make
cool.
like 8 quid or something, yeah.
That is so
For
cool.
£1. And if you use a Binance coin as well, it reduces it by 25%, even more. So it costs you like 75p instead of £1.
That is so cool. I love it.
Steve, have you tried using any of the trading bots to do that for you automatically?
No, I've watched loads of YouTube videos and none of them seem to be worth doing. I might program my own at some point, because I've programmed games and stuff in the past.
Okay.
So
I think similar to you, I've looked at a few channels like Crypto Hopper and that. And they seem to be varying degrees of success and failure. And so someone asked me a while ago about crypto bots or trading bots, and I said, well, they just seem to be a very efficient way of helping you to lose your money faster.
Yeah. If they're making money, they wouldn't need to sell the bots, would they? So
Yeah, good point.
Yeah. With cryptos, you don't need to stop loss because the overall market's uptrending. It might be a year, but it'll uptrend eventually. Whereas I've started to learn Forex trading, which does definitely need stop losses, because that just sort of goes back and forth within a thing. So you definitely need stop losses on that. I'm starting off a lot smaller on that. It's like 50 pence profits.
I don't know. Do any of you look at using things like eToro?
I've got Ripple. I've got Ripple on eToro, and I've got, I get the coin on there that you can't get on Coinbase. I think I got some other coins on there that weren't on Coinbase. I've got them on eToro.
But with eToro, you still don't own the asset, do you?
No, you do.
You do now.
They have got on eToro. They've got 2 different ways of holding it. So you can well, you get all these warnings coming up when you go onto it because it's CFD. But the CFDs they've got on there are all actually the stocks and shares. But the cryptocurrency, so I don't understand it all, but I was pretty sure that the cryptocurrency said you are trading the underlying asset. It said that.
Yeah, I think it
So you're trading the underlying, but you're not owning the underlying.
I don't know. I bought it and it's in my portfolio, so don't really know.
Okay, right.
I've
had this battle.
So maybe not a long-term hold on eToro, more of a trading thing.
It's worth checking into, actually, Rachel. I've seen this with the likes of Revolut, eToro, and a few others. They use CFDs, as you say, and so that they give you the right of trading of the underlying asset, but not the right of the ownership of the underlying asset. Now that doesn't sound like there's any kind of difference between the two, but what it ultimately means is that you don't own the keys to the cryptocurrency. You own the right. You own the rights to a pool that represents the value. So for most people, it doesn't make any difference.
Yeah, but it's the right to buy or sell at a certain price.
Yeah.
Contracts for different CFDs.
So it is a kind of CFD in a way.
Yeah.
It's not geared, but it's still yeah.
You can set leverage 1 on eToro, can't you? So you're not
leveraging it. I think that must okay. So it's a bit misleading actually.
Maybe, but same difference. I mean, unless you've got thousands in there, it makes no difference to you anyway. And if you get up to the 10K mark, you'd be moving some out to one of your sites anyway.
So that was my next question actually. Is so I've probably got about various coins, and then I keep reading that I'm supposed to be getting it off there onto Trezor or whatever. But I have no clue how to do that. I mean, that sounds very complicated.
I wouldn't worry if you just split it between 3 or 4 different exchanges. Okay. So you've not got everything in one exchange, then I wouldn't worry.
Okay.
Peter, you're going to say something a minute ago.
If kind of eToro is still allowing UK retail to access it, then means it isn't CFD. It's mean they're trying to trade in underlying. Because it's been banned for UK retail, any crypto derivatives now. So only underlying crypto can be offered to UK retail.
Yeah, you're right, because the FCA put in that on January 2021, didn't they?
Yeah.
But with the crypto asset trading thing. So yeah, a good one to watch out for.
eToro aren't FCA registered, are they?
No.
But there will still be blocked UK investors, well, UK retail. Yeah. Otherwise, a big head like have the FCA after them.
The eToro have always been very, very interesting with the FCA, because I know when the FCA were based in Canary Wharf, and it was very, very funny to see the eToro adverts for Bitcoin trading as you walk through Canary Wharf. And there was these like massive signs up in there. So eToro is a betting company. You know, ultimately, so
Gemini is registered with the FCA.
Yeah.
So Gemini is probably a safe bet for like Rachel to move a third year crypto over to or something like that.
Yeah. So Rachel, probably the suggestion for you in terms of saving things, first of all, is never admit to how much you've got on an open forum. So if I remember, if I go like that, I'll edit the video a little bit so it doesn't actually record how much you say you got.
It's okay, don't worry. I put it in there prepared to lose it. It was £300 when I bought it. It's gone up to 20. It's gone down to 10. Yeah, it's not the end of the world.
But I always find it funny, particularly on some of the Facebook groups or the WhatsApp groups that I run, how people go, oh yeah, well, I've got 3,000 in this and I've got 5,000 in this. I'm thinking, if I was a hacker, I'd just be sitting back saying, oh, thank you so much for telling me which are the ones worth going for, kind of thing. So
aren't the hackers only interested in like a couple of millions?
Usually, but they'll go for anything. You know, you think about how many people these days get a text message to say, hello, this is the Royal Mail, we've got a parcel waiting for you, please click here. You only need 1 in 100 or 1 in 1,000 to click on the please link here and all this kind of. So it's a numbers game for them. So you're right. The majority of them, they go. The real hackers go for the big money, but there's still script kiddies who'll do whatever they can. So always be careful. But yeah, okay. but coming back to your point.
Good lesson. Thank you.
The thing I always say to people is it is all about, as Steve was suggesting, that diversifying things. So don't hold everything in the one place. Do try and keep it separate. Do check you can still access it every so often. That's the other thing, because otherwise you go and you get a Trezor, a Nano Ledger, and they're what, about $80 or something these days, and then you forget how to use it. So yeah, things can still go wrong. And you know, never stick something that you can't afford to lose in a place where you can't afford to lose it.
always use two-factor authentication. If possible, on a burner phone or something which nobody knows your number, so no one can SIM swap you.
So you can see Peter's fairly serious on this when he's talking burner phones and SIM swapping and this, and that stuff does go on, doesn't it? You know, I know some people who work with high net worths out in the Middle East, or in fact the ultra high net worths, and we're talking people who are using like a dedicated device, dedicated laptop.
Wow.
I'm working on a couple of projects at the moment which are to do with providing commercial grade crypto custody services. So this is where you need at least 3 people making a signature electronically in order for a trade to take place. Because the last thing you want is the way you occasionally get it, where you get like a crypto exchange which disappears overnight, and the CEO magically disappears in India where he dies or something like that. So I'm working with a couple of firms at the moment where we're looking at actually providing proper commercial grade security around things on that. But for most people, that's not going to be what you're going to need, type thing. So
I lost loads of Ripple. I lost loads of Ripple on one of those. I think it was an Irish company that disappeared.
Okay.
What was it called?
Is that Bit something?
Bitstamp or Bitstam or Bit something or that. Yeah. Anyway, it just disappeared, and my Ripple disappeared with it.
I have to be really careful these days because there are so many company names that are so similar to other ones that I try and avoid using names unless I'm absolutely certain it's the name of the company, for fear that someone's going to take out some litigation against me and say, "Oh, you said Bit, whatever it was." They're like, "Oh, sorry, I didn't mean that one," type thing. So,
well, it's gone anyway. Whatever it is, it's gone. Yeah.
And I know. I think last week, I think Sam might have been on the call. We get a few regulars on this, so we get new people who come each week. We get regulars that's going to. And one of the guys was saying how, actually it was Chris, and he was saying how he thought he'd been subject to a scam or something, but that was kind of in the ICO craze where people were being asked to invest in projects and that kind of thing, which is mainly 2017, 2018, when there was loads of scams going around and you just couldn't figure out which was which. So, yeah.
Well, the more we can stick to the main exchanges.
Yeah, that's it.
Binance, Coinbase, Gemini. There's another one, isn't there? Oh.
Is it Bitrex? Is Bitrex the other big one, the US one?
Yes, big one.
What was that, Peter?
Was it Bitrex? Oh, BitMEX I was thinking of, and then there's Bitrex in the US as well.
The ones
are so similar.
Exactly. The ones to watch out for, probably the decentralized exchanges that are setting up at the moment, because they're going to grow in popularity for a while because they're not so regulated, and then people are going to realize the risks of dealing with not so regulated entities type thing. But I think as everyone gets more comfortable and they get more confident, they go, "Oh, I'll just give this a go. I'll give this a go, whatever." And that's where the scams start kicking in again. So yeah, there's risks, but there's opportunities, which is a great thing. Well, whereabouts you based then, Rachel?
In Oxford.
Oh, okay, just down the road then.
Yeah, but it was I joined a while ago. I was going to come to your physical meetings, and I never could really because it was just a bit too far.
Okay.
And so then when you went online, I thought, oh yeah, I'll do it.
Yeah, well, this has been the great thing because Steve, you're in North Wales, aren't you?
Yeah.
Is that right? And Peter, I don't know where you are.
I'm going to see Sam.
I'm London.
London. Okay, there you go.
Just looking out over Canary Wharf.
Very nice.
Well, I'm actually in Stratford, but I've got a direct line of side to.
Yeah, so it's been the great thing now. We used to meet up in a coffee shop in Marlow. And then when we went online with COVID and everything, I kind of opened it up a bit more. So it was like Buckinghamshire and a bit further and a bit further and a bit further. Now we've got, there's got a guy who sometimes joins us from Miami, another one from Munich. So it's open to everyone these days, which is great. Are
you going to keep it online, or are you going to go back to a physical meeting?
I don't know. I'd like to do a mixture of both. So I'm kind of I quite like not going out. So the last 18 months have been heaven for me, of staying indoors and all this kind of stuff. But yeah, it'd be good to get back to some physical meetings, and I still meet up with a few of the people in Marlow occasionally type things. So that's kind of thing. So maybe when we have a physical meet, I'll let you know, and you can pop down the road and come and say hello.
Yeah, thank you.
Because yeah, we used to get people coming from Reading, Oxford, Maidenhead, Slough, a couple of other places, High Wycombe and that kind of thing. So yeah, it's quite good. But these days, great to just pop online.
Yeah,
far
I'm
easy.
a bit like you. I don't like going out.
Or me.
well, Steve doesn't leave his lair.
Oh, I stay in a man's shed as much as I can.
That's the way it works.
Everything I need.
Yeah, exactly. So is anyone else hearing any other news, anything that's happening? So I know Rachel mentioned Ripple, funnily enough, and I know there's still stuff going on with their court action last week or so, but I haven't heard anything last week. We sometimes get Hussein, who joins us, who likes to listen into the court transcripts. So he tries to keep us up to speed with what's going on. But anyone else hearing any crypto news?
There was something about Bitcoin in the news today.
This is Rishi Sunak's thing.
Rishi Sunak, yeah, he likes the idea of Bitcoin. But I think the way I think of it is that the more people start accepting it, the better it will get. You know, everything, it will get mainstream, and then values will get higher, I think.
It's worth watching out that CBDCs, so central bank digital currencies, which is what Bitcoin is, as it's now been labeled, are not cryptocurrencies.
No.
But they are digital currencies. So there's kind of a crossover between the two. So I'm always cautious that I think if governments start talking about central bank digital currencies, then there's the hope that more people will associate that with crypto and therefore will think cryptos are good. So
like stable coins, aren't they?
Exactly, yeah. So certainly
is that because they're tied to the central bank and they're tied to gold or whatever, so they're not really independent at all.
Correct. The tied
just
to the
digital version of the pound, that's all.
Yeah.
But if you think the pound's digital, it's not really digital at the moment, is it?
Yeah, but most payments these days in the UK, I think it's past 97% of all payments are digital now anyway.
Yeah, but it's not a digital currency, so it's got to convert and go through all sorts of different processes. So if they make the British digital pound, it skips out all those stages, doesn't it?
Yeah, and I sit on some of the meetings that the Bank of England hold around designing a central bank digital currency, whether it's for the retail sector, so the likes of us buying and selling things with digital currency, or the wholesale sector, which is how the banks pay each other and transfer things there. And there's a lot of good work going into it. But you can see as well, it's fascinating because I've been involved in this for years. And to me, yeah, it's no big deal. It's a natural type thing. Then you get involved in some of the COVID against government kickbacks. Oh, the government's trying to impose digital identity, and digital currencies will be the way of controlling the masses. And all of a sudden you think, oh, hang on, I've just been part of a grand scheme where the government's going to control the nation type thing. So
it's already happened. I mean, if they're worried about that, it's already happened because they can track where you are from your credit card and your mobile phone. So
yeah,
I don't think anything different is going to really happen.
Yeah.
It's like the same in my profession. Anti-vaxxers, they drive us absolutely nuts. It's like you start talking to someone, you think they're relatively rational, and then they turn out to think that COVID's caused by 5G masts and they don't want the vaccine and all this stuff. But it's like, don't talk to me. I make vaccine.
I always say I'm pro-vaccine, but I'm also protesting of it first.
Yeah, no, that is true.
So see how that goes. But yeah, so it's interesting with the whole central bank digital currency and digital identity. I think it's kind of all inevitable. And yeah, Rishi Sunak's kind of kicked off on this, calling it Bitcoin now, which is
I like the nicknames. The British one's Bitcoin, and the American one is the Fed coin, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's the nicknames they're coming up with. Yeah.
But at least they are looking at it, and it depends what they decide to do with it. To be honest, because I always say that in some ways a digital currency is great because it makes things far more efficient. Most people talk about, oh, I don't want to get into crypto because I don't understand how it works. And then you ask them to explain how traditional banking works. How does a payment between my account and your account work? And most people just think it's clicking a few buttons on a phone and it's done. There's actually an awful lot of infrastructure behind it that most people don't know about, that they don't kind of get interested in. So yeah, it'd be interesting where it goes.
I think when I first got into cryptocurrency, I didn't understand how it worked, and I had to take a leap of faith really to think, okay, I don't understand how this works, but it's clearly got a massive potential. And then as I started as I bought it and I sold it and I kept it and I investigated it and I started to understand it, and it's actually really easy.
Well, I think
to know what it actually the blockchain is, it's a simple concept. It's not easy. It's a simple concept actually.
The thing I find,
people think it's got value, which is how normal currency is.
Yeah,
it's only got value because all people think it's got value. I think same with cryptocurrencies.
I think you're right. That's where you discover over time that the more you learn about cryptocurrency, the more you realize how little you understand about real money. And as you begin to understand how real money works, then you go down the rabbit warren of, so what do you mean the federal bank controls all this? Who owns the federal bank? Isn't it government run and all this kind of thing? And you go into real conspiracy land there. But it's fascinating that you suddenly realize that money really is made up out of thin air.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I remember having an argument with someone about cryptocurrency. They told me it's got no intrinsic value, right? And I said, well, a shiny yellow metal has no intrinsic value. It's just a shiny yellow metal. It's not even very useful. It's really soft and you can't do anything with it. But because we ascribe the value to it, that's why it's got value.
Yep.
So then they were like, oh, yeah.
As I used to say to people, because I used to do a lot of training where I'd hold up a £10 note and I'd say to people, right, can anyone tell me why this is worth £10? And you get expressions, and eventually someone turned around and said, because enough of us think it is.
Yeah, exactly.
Spot on. Yeah, that's the only reason it's worth £10.
If you read what says on £10 note, it says I promised to pay the bearer £10. So it makes no sense in itself. Well,
it's always interesting. Do you all know what it actually means by that?
It was £10 in weight of gold at the time. No?
No.
Is that right?
Well, it may have been originally, but where it says I promise to pay the bearer, what that means is that if you've got
£10 in sterling or £10.
No, it means
£10 sterling silver. That's what the pound sterling. Great sterling pound or whatever it's called is.
And demand the sum of £10. That's all it says.
Yeah. So originally, you're right. Originally,
it means something.
Yeah. So what? No, it does mean something. You've actually now still got a right that if you want to, you can go to the Bank of England in Threadneedle Street, hand that £10 in, and that gives you the right
to have £10
for them to give you £10.
I know, that's right.
And that's it.
It's pointless.
So it might be £10 in lower denomination coins or something.
Yeah.
But you have a right, if you want to, you can hold over that £10 note, and their only obligation
is to give me £10.
Yeah. And it's hilarious because most people don't seem to know that. They still go back to isn't there a gold deposit somewhere? And it's all, no, that went away a long time ago.
We sold it, didn't we?
Yeah,
but isn't that how it started though? Instead of carrying around a gold bar, you have a note that says, I promise to pay £10 in weight of gold. So obviously at that time, £1 was £1 of gold. But now obviously because of inflation.
Well, Peter's right.
It was silver sterling as well. Instead of based on gold, the pound was based on silver. Sterling silver. Yeah. So £1 used to be £1 weight of silver.
Okay. So it's just like a promissory note type of thing, isn't it? It's like an IOU almost, like, and then it became.
It's kind of a certificate of deposit originally, because what it represented was £1 worth of precious. And the idea was, if you're a merchant traveling around the world, you didn't want to have to fill your ship with a load of silver.
Much too heavy.
Well, exactly. But what you could do is if enough people agreed that they'd accept this piece of paper to represent ownership of a load of silver or a load of gold in a bank somewhere, then that was sufficient. So all of a sudden you didn't need to physically transport it. And then someone came up with this idea of, well, actually, I don't need all the gold and silver that these pieces of paper represent. So I can do a thing called gearing, which is as long as I keep a percentage on reserve, then I'll never run out. Because if I do run out of gold or silver, if people show up, that's where the term bankrupt comes from, which means which means bench broken, which is where if enough people showed up with their promissory notes and said, hello, I'd like my gold or I'd like my silver, and you go, I haven't got enough.
That's when banks have problems, isn't it, when everyone's supposed to withdraw at the same time.
That's right. And so that's where literally people would break the benches of these dealers, and that's how they became bankrupt. That's
fascinating, isn't
it? Yeah, it's an amazing world on that. So yeah, so these days we've got a different system where the piece of paper means it represents a piece of paper.
Piece of paper.
just about. So, but yeah, it is an interesting area. So okay, so Ripple's been doing stuff in the courts and that kind of thing. Binance, it's getting harder and harder to be able to actually link your accounts. I noticed PayPal a couple of weeks ago increased the amount that you could trade with them with crypto. They increased it 5-fold, I believe, which was interesting.
PayPal in the UK, can you?
Say again?
You can't use PayPal in the UK for crypto, can you?
I believe you can.
Oh, yeah.
I know someone who does, because when I was talking to him about a year ago, that's the way he was converting his cash into.
He's using a VPN to make it look like he's in America.
I don't think he was.
No, don't think.
Is that right? Okay.
I don't know.
All
I've looked on my PayPal app a few times. I can't see anything about cryptocurrencies.
When you take out withdrawals of Coinbase, I think you can withdraw it to PayPal.
Yeah, that's withdrawing GBP.
Yeah, I don't know about anything about the other way around.
Yeah, well, I think that's what he was doing. I think he was taking it from Coinbase GBP to PayPal in GBP, and then taking it from PayPal into his bank account.
Yeah, that's just GBP. That's not crypto.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have to convert it on Coinbase first.
Yeah. I'll stop.
But I think it's the easiest way to get the money out of Coinbase. I think. I don't
know. I sent from Coinbase Pro to normal Coinbase, and just from normal Coinbase straight to my bank the other day, just to test it.
I've just heard all these people saying they can't get the money. I've just heard so many stories of people who said they can't get it out.
Isn't it? They're blocking Binance. Coinbase will probably be next because that's regulated as well. Just why I opened a Gemini account, because Gemini's regulated. So.
Well, I was going to say that's where it's worth going with Gemini or Ziglu, because they are regulated. Then it just makes it a little bit more difficult for the banks to refuse the accounts.
Yeah, they've got no excuse, the banks, if it's a regulated company, have they? So.
Yeah, because all they're arguing at the moment is that it's putting them at risk of anti-money laundering regulations. Whereas if you're taking it via a regulated entity, then they can't quite argue that. So yeah, an interesting one really. But yeah, I think it's a HSBC, Santander, and Barclays. They've certainly, all three of those have said that they won't deal with Binance because they're protecting your money for you.
Barclays have stopped me. HSBC.
So kind.
Yeah.
TSB regularly block my card. Block my card. Every time I try and make any transaction bigger than 50 quid, they block it, and then sometimes it never works again and I have to get a new one. Wow. And I've spoken to them and I've said, look, I'm investing in cryptocurrency. I know what I'm doing. It's my money. And they're like, oh, it's a security risk.
They don't. What they actually mean is
it's the banks.
Yeah, it's a risk for them. They don't actually care about the customer, but they'll keep claiming that it's to protect your money. And I keep saying that it's your responsibility as a bank to protect my money while you're looking after it.
Yeah.
When I'm looking after it, if I want to go and buy whatever with it, so difficult things. So we've got about 10 minutes left. Has anyone got any other interesting news, views, questions?
Didn't Amazon say they're thinking of accepting a cryptocurrency today? Was that today?
I heard that.
Yeah, Amazon are saying, and it's gone up because of that.
Some digital manager or whatever, weren't they?
Where did that appear from? I didn't hear
that today.
I did. I don't know
He's
how
considering Jeff Bezos, whatever his name is. He's considering it. Amazon being able to accept crypto. Yeah, looking into it.
Okay, because I see it's got Amazon is hiring a digital currency and blockchain expert.
So, yeah.
Oh, maybe I should apply. Interesting. I'll check that one out later then. Because that's the other thing as well, that you get the banks are being very anti-crypto, but if the likes of Amazon, Facebook, eBay, PayPal, the alternative payment providers and that kind of thing, if they adopt crypto, then it doesn't matter what the mainstream banks think. Yeah. It kind of happens anyway.
Amazon takes it on, it'll be a huge boost, wouldn't it?
Yeah, yeah. I guess it's going to depend upon whether they decide to create their own kind of internal cryptocurrency, which would be like a stable coin, pegged one or whatever, or whether they just say, yeah, we'll take Bitcoin or Litecoin or whatever.
Either way, it'd be a boost for the whole cryptocurrency thing, I think.
Yeah. Peter, what's your thinking if the likes of Amazon started accepting crypto? What would that do to the kind of metrics that you're monitoring?
I mean, it'll give people more flexibility to pay. If you look at kind of Bitcoin on chain, most transfers are between about £10 and £100. So like it does kind of appear to be used for kind of day-to-day payments, retail payments. With only the big odds kind of transfer of a few hundred million or billion.
So are you seeing large numbers of low-value transfers on Bitcoin then?
Yeah, kind of that's what makes up the majority of the transfers on Bitcoin is between like $10 and $100. Between $10 is not normally particularly economical.
Really expensive transfer in Bitcoin between the exchanges.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I was thinking. That's why I thought people tended to use Litecoin or something as a way of acting as an intermediary in some way.
Yeah, I don't know about Litecoin. I know, well, last time I looked at Bitcoin Cash, like it was a, I mean, most of that network was just the odd large transfer and not really.
Less, I think, can't they?
Yeah. Like most of the value of the transfers were kind of a few large transfers, and there wasn't much in the way of small payments. Bitcoin Cash. I mean, I haven't looked recently. I mean, you can see this on Bytree.com. Have a Bytree. What's that?
Bytree.com.
Yeah. Bytree or Bytree Terminal. Like essentially visualize the kind of blockchain in real time of a number of these cryptos. So Bitcoin, Bitcoin Cash, Litecoin, a couple of others.
I'll check that out later on then. So Bytree.com. Okay.
One screen's gone white as they type it on there. Bytree.com. There you go.
Cheers, thanks. Yeah, I'll try and include something on the video so people got a link to that as well. It's always interesting to listen to what sources people use for the information. Sorry, I'm struggling with a cough at the moment. Yeah. So.
I mean, that's a pretty good data source for Bitcoin kind of on-chain data.
Okay. I'll have a look at that one later on then. That's good. Thanks for that.
So right. That's kind of backed by, well, among others, Daniel Masters from CoinShares.
Yeah, because
he's an early investor in them.
Is he the one who does the videos? Or am I getting mixed up?
I don't really follow him.
Okay.
So yeah, he's like chairman of CoinShares.
Okay, maybe it's someone I'm getting mixed up with in somewhere. Okay. Well, always useful checking out these kind of like information sources, because this thing, I know Rachel was claiming at the beginning that she's quite a novice, but listening to it sounds like she's far from it. But you always find that people are always asking about good information sources. You know, where do you find out about things, like that kind of thing. So it's good to know.
I think I use CoinDesk for some information, and then because my phone now understands that I like cryptocurrency, it now just gives me all the news sort of automatically, I suppose.
Okay.
It's understood that I hate hearing about Meghan Markle and I like hearing about Bitcoin.
Yes, it takes a while to train the AI, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I really don't want social media celebrity influencer.
Exactly. Yeah.
I want Tony Bays. I want Naomi Brockwell. I want it's kind of it's a good one, man. So, right. Anyone got any other news? Anything else going on? Because we've only got a few minutes left.
I've got one question.
Go for it.
Do you think it's possible to get a career in cryptocurrency if you're not a programmer?
Yes.
What sort of jobs are available?
What I do.
What do you do?
So I describe myself as an emerging technology consultant, and I've been doing this for about 5 years. So I work with companies. I help them understand things like cryptocurrencies. I help them understand the blockchain layer underneath. I help them figure out a little bit about what DeFi is and NFTs and how it can affect their business. I did coding in the last century, a long time ago. You know, so I wouldn't describe myself as a coder. So I was just asked to edit and review a book on Python, and I turned around and said, I don't know Python. And they said, oh, that's okay. You can write about it anyway. No, I can't. Yeah. So I'm not a coder these days. You know, I can probably handle my way around an Excel if then else statement, and that's about it. But I'm certainly not a coder. But I do help companies understand what the business impact is, so they can think about things like, if you've got a stable coin, what would that mean to their treasury?
Okay.
You know, what does it mean for them creating new markets? I help companies understand things like how to use a blockchain to track and trace provenance of goods. So if you do like biology type stuff, think about things like clinical trials management, pharmaceutical discovery, research and development, product traceability, bill of materials explosion, all this kind of stuff. Good
endangered species tracking.
Yeah.
Across borders.
That's right. So I know someone who's involved in I think it's a rhino project, where they're tracking, I think it's rhinos at the moment, using blockchain to do that.
Oh wow, I'll look into that. That's really interesting.
Yeah. Ping me a note if you've got my contact details, and I'll put you in touch with one of the guys who's working on that, called Walid Al Siddiqui, who's a great guy. Known him for a few years, known him in the insurance sector. And in fact, I appeared on his first insurance podcast around blockchain in 2016, I think it was. But yeah, he's working on some interesting stuff on that. So there's all these things that may involve cryptocurrencies. They'll certainly involve blockchain. You don't need coding. Now, and if you've worked in an industry where you've got things like product traceability, origination, provenance, authenticity, you know, so there was another announcement the other day. Was it Louis Vuitton or somebody? They're getting into NFTs for provenance of goods.
Oh wow!
So there's all
loads of uses of it, isn't there?
Yep.
So many uses of it.
Exactly. Yeah. But yeah, ping me a note if we're connected on LinkedIn. Drop me a note by that, or if we're not connected,
I'll drop you a note.
Yeah.
Or on Messenger, maybe. Are you not on Messenger?
Messenger's probably the worst. Just Google me. If you Google Gary Nuttall Emerging Technology, I appear at the top of the list. Just reach out to me. That's no problem on that. So, but yeah, there's all sorts of stuff on there. So does that answer the question?
Yeah. One of my things I'm doing in my day job is I'm a senior lecturer and I'm creating a new degree in bioscience. But it's going to be conservation based, wildlife, environment based, and these type of technologies. I want to include these, you know, because we want to try and make it different from other degrees, and they're available. So that's quite interesting.
Yeah, well, Oxford University's got its own blockchain capability. So I know a few people involved in that, and I've given a talk a couple of times. So I think it's the Oxford Law Society or something around smart contracts and blockchain over a few years. So there's loads of stuff in that space. Yeah, ping me a note anyway.
Yeah, I will. Yeah, thank you.
Folks, I was going to say we're pretty much on to 8 o'clock now, so I was going to close off for the day. Thanks everyone for coming along, sharing their thoughts, their insights, their knowledge. Always very much appreciated. Variable week. Now let's see what brings the next week, and go and wash your hands and be safe.
Thank you.
Have a good one, folks.
Yeah.
Bye,
Thank
bye
you,
now.
everyone.
Cheers
Thank you.
now.
Bye.
Bye.